they have secrets of their own. Dun dun dun. Sorry for calling you a name, but it just rhymed. Life has lifed. It's fine. The golden hour glow that I'm starting to get though. What's up, chicken butt? Welcome to my reading wrap up. Sorry for calling you a name, but it just rhymed. Anyways, if you're new here, this is how this shindig is gonna run, and we're gonna go through some statistics. If you're not into that, you can skip right over to the section for reviews, and then at the end, I'll talk a little bit about some of the books that I want to get read in August. Let's get this show on the road. All right, in July, I read 16 books. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised by that number. I really wanted it to be more, but given how slumpy I was kind of starting to feel towards the end, I'm proud of that. So let's go. Those totaled 4,429 pages, but we did get some audios in there. 50% of what I read, in fact, was an audiobook. 19% were digital books, aka books on my Kindle. I've become a real Kindle girly this year. And then 31% are print books. And I really do want to get back to reading more print books, but life has lifed. It's fine. Anyways, on average, it's taken me about 2 days to read each book. Not so shabby. That is quicker than usual. My usual is like 3 days, so that's kind of, oh, I'm suddenly filled with pride. My top moods, super surprising, y'all. Total opposite of my usual, which is like dark and moody, okay? In first is adventurous, then lighthearted, then funny, and then we get into tense, mysterious, and dark. We really made a switch here. What's going on? I read 50% medium-paced books and 50% fast-paced books, which makes a lot of sense for your girl. I love that for me, actually. That's just my vibe. Okay, page number. This, actually, I'm not surprised about because I did get into a couple of mangas this month, but 56% of the books I read were less than 300 pages. And the remaining 44% were less than 500 and more than 300. So I think that's a good mix. I won't complain about that. 13% nonfiction, y'all. I said I was gonna read at least one a month, and I read 2. Your girl's an overachiever. Yeah. And then 88% of what I read is fiction. And that is honestly where we want it to be. I'm proud of those statistics. Genres. I understand the funny, lighthearted, adventurous moods that I had going on, because now I'm looking at these genres and I'm like, oh, hello. I read 6 mangas this month and they were funny. So that's where that's coming from. I don't know why I didn't think about that before. And then I read 3 thrillers, 3 mysteries, and 3 contemporaries, which is the only thing that even came close to the manga category. I didn't even realize that manga was considered a genre, although, I don't know, like that feels like a format to me. And finally, our average star rating was 3.64, which is not what I want it to be, but we will take it. It's pretty close. I feel like I had a couple 2.5, 2.75s there that kind of really dragged it, but I did have a 5-star read this month. We love when we have those. I'm really thinking about starting a 5-star shelf on my bookcase, just like a place to go back and reference all the books that are literally phenomenal. You know what I mean? Stay tuned for a bookshelf reorganization, I guess. All right, let's talk about these 16 bad boys that I read. First is The Highly Sensitive Person's Guide to Dealing with Toxic People. I feel like the title of this book is self-explanatory. This book could have been an essay. It was interesting, but it didn't have to be an entire book. And I feel like that is normally the case with self-help books. But overall, I thought that it was interesting to just kind of like be in that headspace. I did take a lot of notes while I was reading this. So I ended up giving it 3 stars. I don't know, I need like more practical stuff. Then I read The Ghostwriter by Julie Clark. Don't have the physical copy anymore with me because I immediately listed it and sold it on my Panko Books. Shameless plug, it's always in the description if you're looking for some new condition used books. And I have a lot of special editions there. So if you're ever like the people that are like, oh my God, love your editions, you can find a couple on my Pango. Just saying. Anyways, The Ghostwriter is not a special edition, but I did sell it pretty quickly. And this book essentially follows a girl who is a ghostwriter, and she's kind of down on her luck on getting jobs to ghostwrite. But then her dad, who is notorious for having potentially maybe unalived his siblings, asks her to ghostwrite a tell-all book about what happened the night that his brother and his sister were unalived. And she has no choice but to take this job because what else is she going to do? And I feel like that's all I can say. She's just starting to like really unravel the events of what happened that night with his family. There is some sense of like an unreliable narrator. We get a lot of like family dynamics and stuff like that, which I kind of like. Definitely I needed to finish the book. Like I had that feeling of like I need to finish this because I must know what's going on here. But overall it was kind of boring, I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, I gave this 2.75 stars just because I felt like it had the potential to be great, but things weren't just like adding up well enough. And I feel like the ending just like wasn't satisfying. Listen, the ending can make or break a book, all right? Then we have Piglet by Lottie Hazel. I don't know, guys. This book is just one of those like weird girl fiction. It just follows Piglet. She's a girl with an eating disorder, I believe. And just like her relationship with like food and her husband. It was very odd. And I'm not sure in a good way. So I gave it 2.5 stars. I think I was just like waiting and wanting more the entire time and never got it. These next ones, I'm just gonna like group them all together, but I read A Spy Family, volumes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm obsessed. I love this series so much. So basically this follows Lloyd Forger. That's his like secret mission name, but basically he's Agent Twilight and he is a spy. He's trying to infiltrate this boarding school so he can get in contact with a dude that may be critical in securing peace between the East and the West. However, getting into a school, how is he going to do that? So he adopts a daughter, aka Anya, and then he has to form this like little family, and he secures a wife to just look like he's the picture of a perfect family. But plot twist, Anya and also his wife, they have secrets of their own. Dun dun dun. So yeah, this is really funny, really lighthearted, like just so sweet and so cute. I'm obsessed with their family dynamics. I'm obsessed with the way that he just like acts like he's this tough, like stiff agent guy, but secretly inside he loves Anya, and you can't convince me that he's not falling in love with his fake wifey. That's all I'm saying. And it gets spicy. We get a little love triangle situation going on. We have the like character that has to be involved in the family, but has the potential to blow the whole scheme up. So you have like that intrigue and intensity, and I just love it. I gave volume 1 5 stars because it just warmed my heart so much. And I also gave volume 4 5 stars. The rest I gave 4 stars, but I think like the series in general is just like a 5-star series overall. It's just so good, y'all. Interesting, funny, cute, lighthearted, sweet, all the things. Pick it up. Please do yourself a favor. Next, the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Basically, my dude wakes up one day and he is in his house, and Evelyn Hardcastle has been unalived, and he is trying to figure out who did this. However, how can you figure out who done it when every day you wake up in the body of a different guest in the house? And he's like, what the French toast is going on here? And that's exactly how I felt reading the entire book too. I was so confused. What the French toast is going on here? I will say that the reveal was kind of satisfying, but it's kind of like, if you're gonna give me a whodunit novel, then I need clues scattered throughout the book that tell me like potential things that it could be. And while this one had like red herrings and stuff, there was no actual way that you could have possibly guessed what the heck was going on as you were reading. Like, there was just no way. And it's not that it didn't make logical sense. Like, that ending and explanation could logically be the reason, but there was no indication of it the entire time. It was just so separated from the story. So that made it kind of not fun for me. I felt played. So I gave this 2.75 stars. Then I read Barbarian Alien by Ruby Dixon. This is book 2 to the Ice Planet Barbarian series. And basically these women, they're trapped on an alien planet. And these aliens, they're like, we're also stuck on this island and we need femmes to mate with so our species doesn't die out. And a whole spaceship of femmes. This is bananas. And yeah, you can imagine that there is a lot of explicit content going on, and that's not my vibe, but I did think that the whole concept of the aliens, what they look like and stuff, and like how they like engage, was kind of funny. So I'm a little ashamed to say I gave this 3 stars, but it was a little entertaining. I probably will never read anything else in this series, but it was nice knowing what other people are talking about. Air of Storms is the next book I read. I have a vague memory of what this book is about, but I think I'm just going to read the description to you. It says, Blaze was born with the rare power to summon storms. Once hidden for nearly tearing the Empire apart, she is now forced into a brutal competition for the throne. With forbidden magic, fierce rivals, and dangerous secrets, this is a powerful story about fighting for your place in the world. I wouldn't say that this was anything like super revolutionary, but I thought that the plot was decently engaging. I thought that there was some like little drama, little betrayal that I was like, yes, give me more of that. And overall, the romance was like kind of cute. It was alright. So I ended up giving this 3 stars. I definitely do think that I'm going to continue reading this series. Like, I would have liked to know how the story develops, but it just wasn't like the greatest book I ever read. King of Ashes. Basically, this dude, he has to come back home because his brother made a big boo-boo with the wrong people. And now he is home after their father passed away, kind of just helping them put the pieces back together. No, his dad did not pass away. That is such a lie. I definitely lied to you. His dad was in an accident that may not have been much of an accident. Yeah, that's what happened. Anyways, there's just a lot of like gangs, a lot of violence, a lot of like sneaky schemes, a lot of like trying to beat the system, a lot of like family dynamics, dysfunctional family dynamics at that. And overall, I think that this book was very interesting. Some of the like metaphors made me really want to like crawl into a shell. They were so cringy. But besides that, I did enjoy this one much more than I enjoyed the Razorblade Tears by the same author. Like, I think this one was much more well written, especially with regard to the plot and like the character. I don't love some of the choices the characters made, but we're all sinners. We'll forgive them. The other thing about this book is proceed with caution. I did have to stop reading it a couple of times and then eventually switch to the audiobook because it was just so... I mean, not switch. I was listening to the audio and then I switched to paper because some of the content was just like so heavy. It was hard to listen to. I had to kind of like read it so that I could pause and like take it at my own pace. So definitely check out some trigger warnings, like emotionally, spiritually, this book is very heavy. The golden hour glow that I'm starting to get though. Anyways, this is Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. Basically, this book is about a girl named Monday who, first day of school, her bestie Claudia is like, can't wait to see my girl Monday. Where is she though? And she's kind of like, hey guys, where's Monday? Like, what's going on? Where's Monday? Have y'all seen Monday? And everyone's like, oh, I don't know. She's like, that's it? Like, no one cares that she's missing? What's going on? Her family's proceeding as normal, and things are just very, very odd. And holy guacamole, this book was phenomenal. I also gave this book 5 stars. Did I give more than 3 books? Did I give 3 books 5 stars this month? Why did I say 1 earlier? Wow, this was kind of a really great reading month. I wonder if those statistics were wrong. Anyways, like I said, I gave this 5 stars. I mean, loved just going through this book and being like, what is going on here? Like, what could possibly be happening? And you're getting all these like little breadcrumbs throughout, and you're just like, I don't know what. The flower. Oh, that exact sound. I don't know. Anyways, I really loved it. I loved the dynamic of the friendship between Claudia and Monday. I loved the just like backstory and how intricate and sad and deep it is, and how you can start to like kind of get an idea of what is going on, especially with relation to Monday. Like, I think you can definitely figure out what happened to Monday by the end of the book. However, there is an added layer to what's going on that really threw me off and blew my mind that I don't think I could have guessed. And I think that just the way it was so beautifully and sadly written at the end really just pushed this book to a 5-star for me. Highly recommend. Okay, so I was on some sprints and someone mentioned the book Minor Detail by Adania Shibble. And I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that name wrong. Anyways, this book, essentially, there's two parts of the book. So the first part is the real life events of a girl who was taken, assaulted by an entire like base camp of men, and then eventually mistreated until she passed away. And yes, check trigger warnings, please, because these things are described in the first half of the book. However, second half of the book follows a woman who realizes that these events happened on the anniversary, or her birthday falls on an anniversary of this event, and because of that connection, she just gets like deeply engrossed and obsessed with investigating this story. She travels across borders to visit a museum and just get like more information, and it's just a very cyclical and beautiful connection between the two parts of the stories that you, I think, wouldn't expect. I did enjoy the first half of the book much more than the second half. I think that there's probably some things that because I was listening to the second half, I maybe didn't like catch or resonate with. However, the ending kind of brought things back really well. So I gave this book 4 stars, and it was a quick read. So, and lastly, I don't know why I thought I bought the physical book for this, but Paris Hilton, The Memoir by Paris Hilton. This is obviously a account of her life, and whoa. I never really followed Paris Hilton or like really knew anything about her or her life or like anything at all, to be honest. Actually, with like any celebrity, I'm not really like someone that follows them pretty heavily, like even the ones that I love, even authors that I love, like Stephen King. I just like, I don't know, I like the art. Thanks for making it. Anyways, that being said, I knew who Paris Hilton was, and it was just really crazy to hear about some of the things that she has gone through, but also just some of the things that exist and are still allowed to go down in the United States. I think it's beautiful that she's like become an advocate for these things, and also the fact that she's just been able to like forgive her parents for not knowing that that was going on, even though they kind of allowed for it to happen. I think that's just like really big of her, and overall I really love the tone of this book. Like, she is very unapologetic about the mistakes that she has made, and she doesn't make excuses, but she also gives you like rationale, which I think is really beautiful. And you know, it's just her life. And I think when you listen to an audiobook of a memoir and it's narrated by the person who it's about, who wrote it, you just like connect with it on a much deeper level, because it's like their life. It feels personal, feels like they're talking to you. And I read this while I was in Colombia, so that also was kind of fun. And you know what? I wanted to make a TBR for August, but I don't think I'll do that. Solely because my goal is to finish my physical TBR, and I feel like I've said that in every video. So we're just, you know, in the description, you'll find my past videos. So if you're curious what I'm going to read, check that out. I have 6 books left in my physical TBR. Maybe this will be the month, or not, who knows. Stay tuned to find out in my August wrap up. The only book I will say is that my next Stephen King read is Rage. This was written under a pen name, Richard Bachman. It was the first book that he published under that name. Well, obviously, because I'm going in chronological order. But this book is out of print, so will we find it physically? I don't know. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure you hit that like button. If you want to join the family, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you made it this far, leave me a scissor emoji in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you all when I see you next. Bye.